My name is Andrea Horyn. I'm the owner of Bughouse Studio. It's a contemporary art studio for kids and adults. We have birthday parties on the weekends, summer camps in the summer, after-school classes. We focus mostly on clay here. We have potter's wheels and hand building classes. I opened up Bughouse Art Studio in 2011. We have been open for 3 years, and I used to teach in LaGrange, Illinois. I was an elementary school art teacher, taught classes kindergarten all the way through 6th grade, taught about 650 students in 1 week, and it was always my dream to open up an art studio. At one point, Dan and I wanted to move to Skokie, so we thought this would be a great place to open up the studio. I met Dan Horyn in college. I was going to DePaul University. He was already teaching at Niles North in Skokie. We met randomly. We were out one night, and friends introduced us as we were out, and got married in about a year and a half. I was 23 when I got married. It was definitely love at first sight. We met and talked on the phone maybe the next day, and we even went out the next day after that, and pretty much hung out every day since. We were married for 7.5 years. When he was diagnosed with stage 4 esophageal cancer, I believe we were married already for 6 years. He was diagnosed in August of 2012. It was really quite shocking. It was devastating, of course, but we just thought that we could handle it, and we did the best that we could. There are 2 different forms of esophageal cancer. There is esophageal cancer of the upper esophagus, and then there's esophageal cancer of the lower esophagus. Dan was diagnosed with adenocarcinoma of the lower esophagus, which is different from upper. Upper, generally, you're not surprised because it comes from smoking, drinking. There's a lot more signs. Acid reflux is another sign. Having a difficult time swallowing while eating or drinking. These were not symptoms that Dan necessarily experienced. We actually found out because he was having difficulty swallowing after extreme exercise exertion, hiking the Grand Canyon. Prior to that, there were none of these symptoms. With adenocarcinoma of the lower esophagus, there are hardly any symptoms. That's why the research is so necessary. So starting up the Daniel M Horyn Research Foundation was something that was really important to me, because people out there could maybe benefit from our research, and we have an entire community supporting us who want to also kind of find the answer about why this happened. We found Dr. Villaflor at the University of Chicago, who was amazing. The entire team was like the dream team. They had, aside from standard treatment, tried several innovative procedures and therapies that no one else was really willing to try. And again, Dan had a really fighting spirit, and he wanted to just try everything, and they were willing to. Dan's doctor, Dr. Villaflor, and I are actually really close friends now, and I believe that if anyone could figure out how or why this disease has happened and why it occurs in people at such a young age, especially someone like Dan, who was so physically fit and otherwise healthy, I believe that she and her team are the people that can get it done. The Daniel M Horyn Foundation is raising money to specifically aid Dr. Villaflor and her team at the University of Chicago for esophageal cancer research. The first event that we had to launch the Daniel M Horyn Foundation was the Skokie Swift 5K fun run. The event was great. It was extremely well attended. For our first event, we had around 1,000 runners and walkers and children in the 100-meter Skokie Swift Dash. And I think that it really memorialized Dan, along with raising a lot of money, which we're extremely grateful for, raised around $35,000. Dan really loved teaching at Niles North High School. He was really passionate about it, and I know that he was extremely popular. At home, I think he left his work at school. We had a really great life together. We traveled around the world, and although we both had, a love of education and were really well received at both of the schools we worked at, I think we had so many other things in common that teaching just was another thing to talk about, but not necessarily everything. Here at Bughouse Studio, Dan helped on the Saturday morning classes, and he helped out with the clay and cocktails, the BYOB night. It was just kind of fun for us to hang out in the business that we own. He loved everything about it. He helped me come up with the name. We kind of built it from the ground up. We moved the furniture in together. We built the shelves on the walls together. We painted the floor together, and it was something that he was really invested in and he really loved. We lived life to its fullest. I mean, I can't imagine 2 people being more in love. I can't imagine 2 people spending time together in any other way than we did. We had a joint business together. We owned a house together. We did just everything that we wanted to do. I think, having more time would be the only thing I would really ask for. When Dan was ill and he was diagnosed and he was at home and I was taking care of him, I was his caregiver, I think it was really great for him to go to work. It was helping him keep with his everyday life. And I know that, I think once you stop that, you just sort of stop. And once you stop living, what is the point? So he loved going to work and he loved being there, but I think at home we really focused on our life together. You have a different relationship with someone when you are taking care of them and when that person is sick. So definitely I think that we had more love in 10 years than I think most people have in 50.